Hello everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Debbie McKeegan, the CEO of Texintel, and I am in Florida at Kornit Konnections, and I've got the pleasure of being able to talk to Jaymes Clements of Monster Digital.
Absolutely, pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to see you. What a great event.
Absolutely.
It's buzzing.
Yeah,
isn't
I mean,
it?
every year it gets bigger and bigger. This year over 500 attendees. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, and in such a changeable situation as well. There's so much positivity here in the room, isn't there? It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is about networking and connecting.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're a vendor, a customer, or a demand generator, a competitor. You know, everyone comes together, and the entire purpose of the event is to build a better community, to bring up those that are learning and investing, and to just, be supportive for the entire industry.
Well, that's definitely being delivered. Definitely. I've heard lots of conversations of people chatting and talking with each other who, that just wouldn't happen via email or any other format as well. It's great. It really is very, very positive. It's lovely. So tell us about Monster Digital.
Yeah, Monster Digital is the premier contract print manufacturer. We specialize in DTG. We do support other methods, but DTG is really our bread and butter.
Yeah.
We're purely contract print. We don't sell or compete with our customers. Our goal is to find where somebody has a need and that we can provide a solution, and then to grow and scale together. So we can print over 180,000 impressions a day digitally.
Impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, and we keep growing. So I'm looking forward to saying 250,000 at some point.
80,000 impressions a day. Wow. And how much technology do you have?
We have over 70 DTG printers. We only invest in industrial equipment, so all of our equipment is either Kornit or M&R.
Is it? And it's grown over the years then?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been continuous capital investment in the company so that we can expand our capabilities, upgrade our equipment. Even within the mass amount of Kornit equipment that we have, we don't have any older models. Everything's upgraded and top of the line. We have more Apollos than anyone else, with 7 running. We're proud of what we built in the scale.
You have 7 Apollos?
We have 7 Apollos, yes.
That's super impressive. What a great facility you must have there. Tell us then about how you're adapting quickly to all of the new technologies that are coming through with regard to workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have done extremely heavy investment in building our own workflow.
Yeah.
So, we have full teams of people that support it. I'd like to say we're very agile. It was actually like when I joined Monster, was the thing I was most surprised on, was how agile and fast we were to adjust and change with development live, So I would say we are probably one of the leaders in workflow and process. So, it's blazing the trail is always a little risky, and it costs more because you're not just following somebody's schematic, but I'm like, it's our edge. We want to be ahead. We want to have the best solutions. We want to solve for, when you talk about technology, like TikTok and Amazon, they're changing the way that you have to do fulfillment. It's not just, hey, you have to finish the production and have the label. It's like it needs an in-transit scan that day even. So from the carrier.
It's definitely changing very, very, very quickly. Tell us about your customers. Who are they?
Yeah, I mean, we print for a wide array of different types of customers. We print for brands, we print for people in the sports space, we print for people that have their own IP, we print for demand generators who are, either opening marketplaces or either creator platforms that enable people to commercialize their product. We print for people in promo, we print for people in corporate. So really, we don't have one demographic, which is good. We like to diversify and support a wide array of customers.
Because throughout the year, the calendar of the year is going to change across all of that demographic of customers as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
peak seasons change.
Exactly. I mean, the dream scenario, I think, for any contract printer is can you bring year-round demand and growth outside of just Black Friday holiday period?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a question that investors ask a lot of times, how's your utilization? And I'm like, well, if it was good year-round, I would lose all my partners because that means I couldn't give them the holiday bump that they need. So you always have a glut of capacity beyond what your normal operating is. And I think anybody that's getting in the industry should be made aware of that. If you're full year-round, unless you have an outsource plan, you need to have excess capacity to support holiday multiples.
Yeah, you do, and I suppose that's all part of the agility, isn't it? Though, working it into the business model.
Yeah, absolutely.
That at the end of the day, that's all margin, that's all cost. but it's amortized over the whole year with you guys.
Yeah, and if you find clients that have scale and can feed you volume, or if their peak is off peak, they're like, hey, I'm more around like back to school, or I'm around the Super Bowl, or these like sporting events. Anything that you can bring in that like gives you those shots in the arm, we'll say, at volume. I'm like, that is very positive for the business, because otherwise you just keep building for one time period. It's like there's a limit. There's a limit to how much capital you can invest, and there's a limit to how much space you have. So you don't really want to just bet it all on these,
Is your territory purely US customer base?
We do ship international. Most of what we support is US, North America. So the overwhelming majority of what we're doing is for clients that are shipping into the States. So.
And how would you say their expectations have changed in the last year? Your customers' expectation, what they've made you switch to?
Yeah, I mean, people expect that the product quality will continue to improve. They I would say, like the baselines that people have, what was fine a year ago is not fine today. The systems need to be more agile. They want to see KPIs and dashboards that show them live data. They want their customers to have access to, what's happening with their order. They want faster turns. They want to support more marketplaces, and then they with all of the tariffs and cost changes and, no political opinion, but I'm like, hey, it's impacting industry.
You need visibility across the board of that instantly.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the implications of those changes, and have the agility across the system to move it.
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
And some things are not agile, where I'm like, if I go to a platform and we establish what's fair costing and pricing, just because something changes geopolitically doesn't mean every week I can go back, I actually need to renegotiate everything with you. It's very difficult to do that, because you think about their presence to their customer.
Absolutely.
You don't want to see people having the bulb effect on their pricing, right?
Well, you've got to have a stable supply chain as well. You can't be switching components across standards, color, everything changes. So keeping that stability is key to your agility and the volumes that you're doing.
Yeah, and that's true on the equipment side. That's absolutely true, and then even on like the raw material, the blank side, it's true, because these sites, they're either advertising what they're selling if they want to, or they go through testing, rigor, all of the size charts, the colors. They're very important. I'm like, they have all this outward marketing that takes place, the dev on their website, the full push, and it's like, you can't just sorry, this country of origin is more expensive now, just change everything, because it's cheaper. It's like, well, no, it doesn't work that way. We have to work through it. So
that's very true, though, isn't it, really? Because I think sometimes when people look from outside of the industry in, they'll say, oh no, I'm going to switch to that brand or this brand, or I'm going to move supplier and save 10 cents.
Yeah.
But actually, when you look at the overall impact of that choice in that supply chain, the repercussions further down production can be catastrophic, can't they? So as you say, keeping that stability is super important.
Yeah, and we see, there's some things that are very elastic in market. They can take and push like with cost changes, and there's others that aren't. And there's actually customer demographics where, they're the 5 cents or 10 cents will win or lose the business. So you have to kind of ask yourself at your core, be like, am I okay with losing the business, or do I want to buy it?
Do you think then that you are having to take some of these? You're having to take some of these hits to ride the storm out. Is that what's going on?
I would say that
not
everybody, even the mills, like the price increases I've seen come through, like you can tell that they're minor compared to the costs that they're taking on. We either eat or pass through just the cost, not even the margin, I'd say that like everybody's taken a hit. So. And then I think back on the business side, I'm like, well, some of these businesses, if it doesn't fit your paradigm or your strategy, like you have to let them go. Not all business is going to be one. And it's a hard thing, especially like I'm on the commercial side of the business. It's a hard thing to say no to business sometimes, right? Like somebody comes and you're like, hey, I'm going to give you a 10% bump in your daily volumes when you're not at peak and you're slow, and you're like, well, yeah, but if I give you this price, it affects all of my customers. It's not good for the ecosystem. And I'm like, and all that this is guaranteeing me is as long as the other person doesn't come back with a lower price, you'll stay temporarily.
Well, yeah, because you're not building loyalty there, are you, when you take those deals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that person's going to shift from you for 5 cents again.
Yeah, and I think it's okay. Like, I'm not saying that's bad business. It's not our strategy, but I think there's two types of relationships, and there's only one type I like to build. So there's strategic relationships, and there's transactional relationships.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you go into something and both parties understand it's transactional and they're both okay with the output, I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but it's not a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
You're essentially doing something for something.
Yeah.
Strategic is more about, hey, I want to help you grow. It's not about me. Everything's about you. Let's grow together. And if I do a good job, I continue to grow with you because you leave your business with me because I'm a good vendor, right? So
exactly.
That's our strategy.
Yeah, yeah. That's the best strategy, isn't it?
I think so.
And that's the strategy that allows you to grow for the future. Where do you see yourself in a year's time?
No, a year's time. Well, here. Yeah, I love where I work. I love the team and the people. That's what, nobody does anything alone. Grateful for the teams. It's what I'm proud of, is what we're building together. And, I just want to see Monster continue to grow because I feel we add a lot of value to the industry.
Yep.
And our growth, again, we're not selling. So I'm like, my growth is purely dependent on the industry growing and my clients being successful. And I love that because my focus is on them, I'm not saying that to sell. I mean, it's literally my business model is I support you. And if you're not successful and you don't grow, I don't grow.
But you're growing and ultimately provide great customer service.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. You don't want your client to have to worry about the things that are your responsibility.
Yeah.
I want my client to think about, are we fairly priced together? Am I going to provide a high quality product that meets or exceeds the end consumer's expectations? And am I going to keep my word on my service level agreements where I'm shipping in whatever time period that we agree to? And that plays into that full experience with the customer.
Yeah, it does.
I'm like, if those things are taken care of and I do a good job, everything else they shouldn't have to worry about. So
that's a great point to end on, actually. As you say, deliver exactly what you said you were going to do right at the very beginning, and you grow those fantastic relationships and the strength for all of your employees as well.
Yeah, as a contract printer, my word's all I have, and my execution is how I keep it. So
yeah, it's very honourable, fabulous. Good to hear that. All right, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely, thank you. Appreciate it.
Really interesting, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.